I think deadlines are some of the sort of stupidest things that anybody's ever invented, and that we continue to teach in school, and it's set up, and many things are set up in terms of deadlines versus, getting a proposal in, getting some grant in, getting a paper written by a certain time, all of those kind of things. It's pretty silly how we sort of set them up. And, all of that is basically on a philosophy that we need to have something done by a certain time, and it's sort of built into a lot of popular culture. Um, and ultimately, it's nonsense. And you do get, maybe you'll get things done, you'll wrap it up, but at the same time, you're sort of setting yourself up for failure, because most things are not a one-off thing. And if the way that we actually treat people around deadlines actually becomes really nasty, and we're not necessarily forgiving or nice to people, you know, there is a lot behind the psychology of deadlines that I think is just problematic in a lot of ways. So, the way that I handle these kind of things, I'm, I hold sort of loosey goosey deadlines, right? Like, you have to kind of get it in, or there's a time by when it should be done. But, if it doesn't get done, that's fine. Or on the other end, on the other side, everything that I do has really hard, firm deadlines, in that there'll be like a lot of different things that need to get done over a period of time so that it actually gets done. Now, the issue is um, not necessarily the deadline itself, but it's the psychology behind it. It's the people that are part of your team. It's all of those particular things. It's the assumption that people don't like to work. And there is a huge portion of the world that does not like to work, right? Or not necessarily not like to work. They just, you know, they're sort of unwilling to work. That's the majority of people in this world are like that. They just don't like to work. They don't want to sort of cooperate and do all those kind of things. Well, you don't want those people on your team, and it's not going to work out very well. So you have sort of an artificial deadline that you need to get people to do, so it actually gets done. But ultimately, you have to think about the, do you want those people on your team? And if you have people that actually want to work and that are participative, it's hard to find, and it's super hard to find. Um, but if you do get those people, then deadlines are kind of a farcity, right? Like, why do you actually need a deadline? Excuse me. Hola. Um, why do you actually need a deadline when everything is all made up in the first place, right? If you are just working all the time and you're sort of working towards a common goal all the time, um, then the deadline is pretty arbitrary. And that's the way that I've sort of always viewed deadlines. And that arbitrariness is just making you feel stressed out. It doesn't make you feel good. There's a lot of panic. There's a lot that rides on it. So I think it's kind of silly to think about it, and to think that deadlines are somehow this like positive thing. I really am not a believer in them in most aspects of our life, because there's only so much that you could do. You get up, you go to bed, right? And what deadlines do is they end up robbing you of tomorrow, right? So you'll hurry up, get it done, get it in before the deadline. You'll stay up to midnight to 11:59, hand the damn thing in, and then you got to get up tomorrow, and tomorrow is going to be a tiring, exhausting day that you are half working at. You can't get this done. It doesn't necessarily add value to your life. So if you sort of think of yourself as, how can I operate in such a way that I smooth out. So the way that I think about a lot of these decisions is a lot like a machine, right? So I was trained like I'm an engineer, process engineer, and we do not want spikes. We do not want things to, go up and down because it's highly inefficient, highly ineffective in a factory, right? If things are stopping and starting, there's a lot of uptime. There's lots of downtime. There's lots of downtime. There's a lot of problems to it. Machines can break down very easily. What you want is a constant sort of humming along at the same rate, at the same pace. And because the reason is machines and all those kind of things don't break, right? They have a lot longer time of sort of sustaining. It's at a steady state. It's not going to explode. You don't have any problems. So that's the way that I imagine the human being or the human body is, that it very much is a machine. If you look at people that sort of deal with these deadlines, and they get really stressed out from deadlines, all those kind of things. They actually are, um, they're having a tough go, right? Often they have a very tough go, and I personally would have a tough go if I was sort of focusing on deadlines all the time. I'd be panicking all the time. um, so instead of that, I imagine myself as a steady state machine trying to do the best I could possibly do, and try to accomplish the things I need to do, and the rest of it is just sort of nonsense. So if I had my way, I would remove a lot of deadlines out of how we operate and just focus on trying to get everybody to enjoy work, to work at a steady state all the time, just so that they can have fun. Okay. So with that, take care and have a wonderful day.